With this volume, I have officially read all of One Piece, but the question remains. Was it worth it? And with a title like I read all of One Piece so you don't have to, you might think the answer is no, but the truth is, it depends. I have spent the last year reading One Piece whenever I've had the chance, and yes, that includes the Food Wars and Ace backstory spin-off. And what can I say but that One Piece is truly a masterpiece, and I certainly understand why so many have it as their favorite anime. As a traditional shonen, it's already really solid with its journey to become the Pirate King, but it's everything after that which makes One Piece so great. To begin with, the core of any shonen, the power system. Now there are two main powers in One Piece, the devil fruits and haki. By consuming a devil fruit, you get a power associated with it at the cost of never being able to swim. How many fruits there are in total is unclear, and each one has its unique powers, which can be literally anything, and ultimately that allows for a lot of different powers in the same world. The haki system, on the other hand, is like a soul power system that mostly aids in dealing with some of the issues the devil fruit power system would otherwise have, like how to deal with someone who is a Logia type, aka whose devil fruit allows them to turn into an element. But the creativity of the devil fruit stretches far outside the normal spectrum of powers you might expect. Get what I did there? Stretches? Anyways, it ultimately leads to a lot of creativity and unique characters who, for example, can rap to hurt you. It's however not only among his enemies that creativity flourishes, but also with the characters he picks up along the way to join his crew. And even though only a few of them have actually eaten a devil fruit, each and every one of his crew members have different powers. They are also unique in terms of race, skill sets, and personality. Not to mention the insane amount of depth into each character's backstory, together with motivations for joining Luffy's crew, making each and everyone have the potential as a main character in another story. And these elements, together with their relationship with each other, ultimately allows us to get the feeling that we are hanging around with friends. I have talked about this plenty of times before, but if you can make the main cast's interaction with each other enjoyable, you have already sold the show. Everything else becomes a bonus. But a big bonus is the very real issues they deal with. Think what you like about Hassan, but he has a point when he says Luffy is a terrorist. Or freedom fighter might be a better word for it, but the point is that time and time again the story centers around themes that are very real. From the basic issue of the boy who cried wolf and the racist Arlong in the Straw Hat backstories, to geopolitical issues like resource scarcity, aka Alabasta. There are of course plenty more examples, including the conspiracy-like world government that are willing to eradicate entire islands, but spoilers, you know. So let's just say I do honestly believe that these are some of the aspects making One Piece the best out of the big three. But I think a lot of people sleep on it because of its art style, and I'm not gonna lie, the almost cartoony art style of the anime certainly turned me off the show as well. And to be completely honest, it was one of the reasons for why it took so long for me to get into the series. And I probably never would without the manga. Buggy, for example, was just a comedic relief in the anime, and don't get me wrong, he is also that in the manga, but he's also pretty badass. And I honestly think that remains true wherever they might be. One Piece is a cartoon-like show. That's not something you can get away from its merry ship to the character design and even characters' mannerisms. Like, seriously, who walks like that? But in the end, the manga always deals with that aspect a bit better, and isn't that great because not only does it help when dealing with the goofy parts about giant best friends and a dude who lives inside of a whale, but also the dark parts about slavery and deception. Now, I have talked about this previously. One Piece is built up in a way that allows it to use any IP. Not literally of course, but Oda can borrow ideas from any world he wants. He wants dinosaurs? Of course there's an island like that in the Grand Line. He wants zombies? Of course there's a spooky warlord with those powers. How about samurais? Well, why not create an entire arc around it, taking place in feudal Japan? But Eiichiro Oda the Mad Lad doesn't stop there. You see, he ties all of this insane world building together. And my favorite example of this is previously mentioned Arlong. You see, hundreds of chapters after Arlong Park's conclusion, we get to see Fishman Island. And with that, we get a fully detailed explanation of why Arlong thinks the way he does and why the feud between humans and fish people exist. The point is that this continuity is one of the main reasons I like One Piece, and also why I disagree with some people saying it's okay to skip parts. Another reason would be the amazing and subtle foreshadowing that One Piece does, which of course helps make the world feel very alive. And when this spans over hundreds of chapters and several real world years in multiple ways, including checkups between arcs with what's going on in the world and what our previous supporting cast is up to, it never feels like we're switching stories or things are forgotten. But the same length that works wonders in creating this huge and connected world is the same reason I say it depends on you if it's worth it. One Piece is one of the best manga I have ever read, and in a 1v1 there are few that come as close in the amount of enjoyment they have given me, not to mention its insane level of quality. But it's not the only unique, qualitative and great one, and if we look at one who does come close in enjoyment, it would be Berserk. And if it's already a close one there, what happens if we start counting chapters? One Piece is around 1100 chapters as of writing this, while Berserk is 364 chapters long, or 373 if you want to count the ending after the author died. So if we put those chapters into perspective, after removing 373 chapters, we still have about 725 chapters left. And with those remaining chapters, you could read all of Jujutsu Kaisen, all of Undead Unluck, and all of Vinland Saga with like 100 chapters left to go. And I chose those 3 manga specifically because those are in my backlog due to spending that time on One Piece. Now at this point you might ask, but Kaiju Tuna, a good chapter will always be a good chapter, right? And if I enjoy 1100 chapters, does it really matter where I enjoy them? And that is, well, kinda true. I would say there's only so much one manga can give you. Even if the story is great and interesting, it's still the same world. And there are plenty of other manga with cool stuff like Hunter x Hunter's fights, together with a power system often labeled the best in the anime world. Cool dystopian worlds like Promised Neverland that I'm dying to know more about. Great friendships and laughs to be had in Konosuba, and once again we are well within the total amount of One Piece chapters in case you want to read something more. My point is, if you like me enjoy exploring different worlds and settings, it gets hard to motivate why that time should be spent on one manga, aka one setting, no matter how great it is. And unless you like to really deep dive a lot into one setting, or you know, if you are new to manga and still have your time wizard powers that allow you to watch 5 anime in one day, in which case use them to read One Piece before you lose them, I think you have to ask yourself, in addition to the time you already spend on manga, is it worth it to spend more, or are you prepared to sacrifice others for One Piece? Others like Psalm 100, and you can click here to find out about what makes that great. With that said, take care. I'm sick, so I'm not gonna be able to do it properly, but